Hey YouTube, it's Jonathan, and today we're talking brush cleaning. Alright, so the first things that we need are obviously our dirty brushes and something to clean them with. I personally use the Johnson's Baby Wash. This is the one with shea and cocoa butter. I like this one because it leaves my brushes a little bit softer than their original formula. Also handy to keep around are some older towels. I don't like to use my nice new ones when I'm cleaning my brushes just in case I get any excess makeup on them. So the cleaning of brushes is a little bit self-explanatory. You get it wet, you put shampoo on it, you rinse it off, but I'm going to explain it a little bit more in detail. The first thing I do is turn the tap on, and I like to get it slightly warm but not hot. Once the water is at the right temperature, I take my brush and I get just the bristles wet. You want to make sure not to get any water on the ferrule of the brush because that can ruin the glue. Once the bristles are wet, I like to apply a little bit of the shampoo into my hand and start working the bristles into that, getting it nice and sudsy. Once the brush is nice and sudsy and worked in, I rub it against the tips of my fingers here because that kind of, I think, helps the soap get like deeper into between the bristles and everything. I don't know if that's a fact. But once it is all nice and sudsy and I can see the makeup coming out of my hand, I like to dip it back under the water and squeeze out the excess water and soap to get as much of the makeup out as I can, and then I just repeat that process one more time. If you go for a really long time without washing your brushes, especially foundation brushes, this can take 3 to 4 times to get it all the way clean because you do want to rinse until the water runs clear. But if you wash your brushes every couple of weeks, this should take only 1 or 2 applications. After you have rinsed your brush, I like to take an old towel, put the brush in that, and squeeze out as much of the excess water as I can. And then I just like to run the brush along the towel just to get any of the bristles facing the wrong directions back going the way that they will need to dry. For my larger powder and blush brushes, I like to just run my hand along and make sure all the bristles are facing downwards before I lay it out to dry. As you can see where my brushes are drying, I like to have one towel folded and one towel straight across so that when I lay them down, the bristles are facing downwards so that the water can run out of the brush and not into the brush because that can damage the glue. I like to leave my brushes overnight to dry, but once they're dry, you can just kind of fluff the bristles back into their natural shape and put them away. There are many different brands that do brush shampoos. I personally have been using this just because it's a little bit cheaper and it works and it does exactly the same thing. But in the past, I've used the Bare Minerals Well Cared For brush shampoo, which is really nice. It's $14, $15, something like that, which is not too expensive. Using something like that is going to kind of condition your brushes, just like this has the shea butter in it, which kind of helps to keep the bristles softer. Japanesque also does a kind of solid disc of soap. I've not used that one. I've seen it online and I've seen other people on YouTube use it, and I've been interested to try it. I know that the process is very similar. You just kind of swirl your brush onto it rather than doing it on your hand, and it cleans it that way. Occasionally, when I'm working on a client, I will need to clean a brush between applications of one product and another. For that, I just take a half and half mixture of water and alcohol, and I spritz it on the bristles and I run it across a tissue. I wouldn't recommend using this method all the time because it can tend to dry out the bristles of your brushes. How often you clean your brushes is really up to you. If you have acne-prone skin, I would definitely recommend washing your brushes more often than if you have drier or more normal skin. Brushes can harbor bacteria which can cause more acne, especially if you already have erupted acne on your face. So washing your brushes more regularly is going to help prevent the spread. I wash my personal face brushes about every 2 weeks. I kind of sit down and wash them all together. I kind of have enough brushes to do my foundation with a different brush every day for 7 days, which is terrible to say, but I'm lazy. On my eye makeup brushes and the brushes that I use on clients, I wash them after every use because I don't want to spread bacteria from one person's eyes to the next, etc. and so forth. Alright, well I hope I covered everything. If you have any questions about anything that I used or talked about today, leave that in the comment bar below. Don't forget to give me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe to my channel. Check me out on Instagram and Twitter. Both are at JonJonTalks, and I'll see you next time. Bye! I have a pretty cliche answer for my biggest dream, and that is to be successful, but more specifically successful in one of the fields that I am pursuing. I would love to be successful on YouTube, on stage, or anything like that.